If getting dressed feels harder than it used to, it's probably not because you suddenly forgot how to dress. And it's probably not because you don't have enough clothes. Most women I talk to actually have more clothes than they used to. But getting dressed still feels heavier, more annoying, and more draining. And if you're thinking, why does this feel so much harder than it should? You're not imagining it. Today, I want to explain why this happens and why it has very little to do with your closet size, your body size, or your age. And if this sounds familiar, type harder in the comments so I know I'm talking to the right woman. Now, I want to be clear about something before I go any further. This is not about fixing you, and it's not a video about buying better clothes. This is about understanding what quietly changed underneath your wardrobe, so getting dressed doesn't feel like a daily struggle. Because once you see what's actually going on, the relief is real. Why this feels different now. The big shift. Here's the first thing most women don't realize. Getting dressed used to be easier when your life structure was clear. You had more predictable days, more consistent roles, clear expectations about where you were going and what you were dressing for. So your closet matched your life almost by default. But over time, life gets layered. Your schedule changes, your priorities change, your body changes, and your energy changes. And guess what? Your closet doesn't fully catch up. So now every morning you're standing in front of the clothes that represent who you were, who you might be again, who you thought you'd be dressing for, and who you actually are right now. And that is a lot for one closet to hold. No wonder it feels harder. Why more clothes makes it worse. This is the part that really surprises most of us. When dressing feels hard, the instinct is to add another top, a jacket, something that feels safe. But here's what actually happens. More clothes doesn't create more outfits. What it does instead is it creates more decisions. And guess what? Decision fatigue is a real problem. Every time you open your closet, your brain is sorting. Does this still fit? Does it still feel like me? Is it appropriate today? Am I comfortable in this? Is this too much, too boring, too old, too try hard? And ta-da, the mental load adds up. So you end up defaulting to the same outfits, not because you love them, but because they're familiar and they require less energy. And that is not style failure, it's a nervous system response. So now let's talk about the safe outfit trap. We all have them, myself included. They're the outfits you wear when you're tired, you're rushed, you don't want to think, or you don't want to be seen too much. Safe outfits aren't bad, but when they become the only option, your style starts to feel really flat and boring. And then something really sneaky happens. You start thinking, I guess this is just how I dress now. But that's not true. You're not out of style. You're just stuck in default mode. And guess what? Defaults can be changed. Why this isn't about age. This is a really important point I'd like to make. Getting dressed does not feel harder because you're older. It feels harder because the systems you used to rely on aren't working anymore. Style evolves and life evolves. And guess what? Bodies evolve. The mistake is trying to use these old rules for a new season of your life. And once you start blaming your age and updating the system, everything softens. What actually makes getting dressed easier again. Here's the shift that changes everything. Getting dressed becomes easier when you stop treating every outfit like a one-off decision. You stop looking in the mirror and asking the mirror to solve everything. And you stop relying on mood or motivation. Instead, you just build structure. No rigid rules, no uniforms, structure. And I'm talking about things like outfit formulas work, clear go-to combinations, fewer undecided pieces, and a closet that reflects your actual life. This is why I built the Style Refresh Blueprint. Not to give you more ideas, but to remove the constant decision pressure. And if you've been nodding along and thinking, yes, this is exactly my problem, the blueprint walks you through all of this step by step. No try-ons, no trends, no pressure, just a calm way to make getting dressed feel easier again. I'll link it here and in the description if you want to take a look. What changes when the system changes? Here's what I hear from women after they fix the system instead of the size of their closet. They stop dreading getting dressed. They stop panic shopping. They feel more like themselves again. And more importantly, they stop feeling like something's wrong with them. So if getting dressed feels harder than it used to, I want you to hear this. You're not broken. Your closet isn't failing. And you don't need a brand new wardrobe. You just need a system that matches the woman you are now. What part of getting dressed feels hardest lately? Let me know in the comments. You know I love hearing from you. Stay gorgeous, and I'll see you in the next video.